Good day, scholars! This video is the first video in a series of videos where we will learn how to make our dream home. And today what we're going to do is we're going to make our floor plan, okay? So we have some questions here that we should be asking ourselves as we're making our floor plan, so let's review these. So we need to make sure that our walls are at least 6 inches thick, and we need to make sure we have all of the required rooms. So make sure you look through the requirements here because there are some things in here that you may want to consider when you're making the floor plan, such as the type of rooms that you're going to need, right? So you can have a living room, one or multiple bedrooms, one or multiple bathrooms, and a kitchen. We also need to look at some other stuff. So we need a driveway. That's good to think about. We might need a patio or deck for the backyard. We need to have walls that are at least 6 inches thick, like I said. And I believe we need a garage. Yes, a garage big enough for an automobile. So those are some things we need to keep in mind as we're making our thing, our dream home. Let's think about the tools that we need to create our floor plan. So first off, we're going to also need the orbit, pan, and zoom tools, right, to be able to move our camera around and see our house from different angles. We're also going to need the line, rectangle, and circle tools most likely to create the two-dimensional shapes of the floor plan. We'll need the offset tool to make the walls, and we'll be using the push-pull tool to make the walls three-dimensional. Okay, so let's go ahead and just jump into SketchUp. You will see a link to SketchUp up here if you need to get to it easily. I have it open already on this tab, and you should go to the home screen here. So if you're in a project already, make sure you click on the top left of the three lines and go to home, and it should look like this. And you'll see I've already started one, just as a sort of an example, but we'll start one here first. So what we're going to do is you're going to go to create new. And you got a couple options that you can choose from. You have feet and inches, and you have meters. Ignore millimeters. That measurement is too small for a house. You can choose whatever you feel more comfortable with. So if you like the metric system, you can choose meters. I suggest feet and inches because you guys are most likely more familiar with those measurements. So I'm going to choose feet and inches for mine. So I'm just going to click on that. It's going to freeze for a moment while it loads up the environment. And you'll be greeted by this handsome man here, or maybe you'll get the woman, or maybe you'll get some other model, and just kind of random. And I'm going to leave him here. And I'm going to leave him here because he's going to act as a scale for my house. So when I make my house and my measurements, like when I make a door or something, I need to make sure that this guy can fit through it. Okay? Because you don't want to make things too big or too small. You want to make sure that your house is, sized for a human being. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna actually go to my orbit tool. I'm going to pan over by hitting shift to give myself some room, and I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to try and keep my example house a little small just so you guys can see it easier. So you have some options here. Right, you can use the line tool if you want. You can use the rectangle tool. I think rectangles are the easiest to use. You can, of course, use circles. You can create some arcs if you want. There are other shapes, polygons you can make, all that fun stuff. I'm going to use a rectangle. And I'm just going to click, drag out, and I'm going to make this be my first room of my house. So I'm going to go, boom, I'm going to go right there. Then what I want to do is I want my garage to be off to the side over here. So I'm going to make this my garage. I do like a large garage. I want a 2-car garage. So I'm going to make that my garage there. And then I'm just going to draw some more rectangles. And as you can see, right, see how that's not snapping there, right? So you might have to play around and kind of see what you're doing. I did my best there, but you'll see that that's not correct, right? That's off by a little bit. So let me zoom out a little bit here, and I'm going to undo this. I'm going to see if I can get this to snap. Oh, look, it's a triangle. Why is that a triangle? That's interesting. I might draw some lines. Let me grab my line tool here, and I might just draw some lines for my other rooms here. There we go. So let's say that's a room. I'd love for this to be a room. So I'm going to hit escape and undo that. And you might have to kind of trim some stuff up. So I'm going to hit E to erase that. Okay. And I'd really like, so let's say, I'm gonna say this is my living room. I'm going to make this my kitchen. I'm going to say this is a bedroom. And I'm gonna add one more room just for funsies, Why not? Okay, so there we go. So now I've got my general layout. Okay, and of course you can always kind of play around with it. You can try and make some arcs, right? So there are arcs here that you can do to make, circles and stuff like that. There are different tools for making curves, right? So if I wanted to get fancy with it, I could make a curve like that for whatever reason. And of course, you can always use other sort of shapes and stuff like that to kind of mess around with things. But I'm going to keep it simple. Okay. The next thing I need to do is I need to make my walls. So what I would actually suggest is you can do this in a couple different ways. You could take the offset tool. Okay, so if you go over here, let me make sure you guys can see this. You go over here to the push pull, and then the third tool is the offset tool. And if I click this, it'll then make me a wall. And I need to make sure my walls are at least 6 inches thick. Okay, so that means I could just eyeball it or I could type it in. I'm going to type it in. So I'm just going to type in 6, enter, and it'll make it. I can do it for this one as well. 6, enter, and it'll make it. We do have a problem already. So you'll see this now, this right here is 6 inches plus 6 inches. That wall is 1 foot thick. That's a bit thick for a wall. So I'm going to fix that later. But I'm gonna keep going with the click, 6, enter, click, 6, enter, click, 6, enter. And now I've got walls all around each of my individual rooms here. What I want to do next is I actually want to make sure all of my walls are the same thickness. So my outside walls are 6 inches. I want my inside walls to be 6 inches. So what I need to do is I need to erase some stuff. So I'm going to hit E to get to my eraser. I can also click on it up here. But I'm going to start deleting some of these lines. Okay, so I want to delete that line. I'm going to delete this line. I'm going to delete this line. And basically what we're doing, we're just deleting one of the inside lines here to make it to where there's only one wall essentially. And it'll make some more sense as I make this and delete the rest of these here. I believe that's good. That's one. Okay. So I believe I deleted what I need to delete. Now I need to fill in those gaps. So I deleted that wall here. I just need to take my pencil tool and fill that in, hit the escape button, boom. Click, zoom in a little bit maybe, fill that in. Hit escape, move on to the next one. And I'm just attaching these to the other walls. That way all of our walls will be 6 inches thick. And I don't want to miss anything, right? Because if I have a spot that I missed, I'm going to have some problems later. There's one up here I need to fix. And one over here. Okay. Is that all of them? Okay, I fixed all of them. Now what I need to do is I need to make sure all of these walls are connected. So you see this line here? I want to get rid of that line. So I'm going to hit E. And I'm going to erase that line. I'm going to erase all of the lines that keep my walls disconnected from each other. And I'm just panning around and I'm checking all of my little joints here to make sure I can do our next step. Oh, there's one right there. Okay, let me do it once over. Let me check and make sure I got them all. I think I am good. So as you can see, right, so let me orbit upwards here. All of my walls are connected. What I got to do now, okay, is I'm going to go to the push-pull tool. I'm going to select it. I'm going to select my walls. Okay, and here's the magic. Oh, boom. Fantastic. Okay, and I want these to be at least 10 feet tall. Well, 8 feet. 8 feet's normal. I'm going to go with 10. So I'm just going to type in 10 apostrophe, hit enter, or I could do inches, which would be 120 inches, right? Because 12 times 10 is 120. If I hit enter, it will then make my walls 10 feet tall. Boom, there we go. Play around with it, make it how you want to make it. Feel free to add curves and all that kind of stuff. But this is the beginning of your house.